I can tell you 100% with zero reservations, getting electrolytes under control in my own body was a complete game changer and really solved a lot of problems, okay? If you find yourself feeling sluggish, but you know that you're sleeping enough, you're drinking enough water, you're taking in adequate amounts of nutrition, but you still just can't quite seem to get over the hump, or if you start to cramp up more than normal and your exercise hasn't really increased or decreased all that much, you could be looking at an electrolyte imbalance. Now, you've heard this a lot, and it's always marketed in one of those fizzy, sugary drinks like Gatorade or Powerade or vitamin water, which is just loaded with calories, by the way, but I digress. The best and most effective ways to get electrolytes: supplementation, okay? Eating a balanced diet, okay? But you've heard the term, okay? Certainly, undoubtedly, you've heard the term and you've seen it marketed on every drink that's out there. So, what exactly are electrolytes? Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Are you getting enough electrolytes? How do you replace your electrolytes? What are the best ways to get electrolytes? How well do they brighten up a room, these electrolytes? It seems like a lot of people throw around the term and the word electrolytes, but do they actually know what they are and why so many people talk about them? Did a little experiment and asked about a half dozen people, and they could name 6 types of electrolytes and what each of them do. That's tough, even for somebody with an exercise physiology degree to do. So, what exactly are electrolytes? They are electrically charged minerals or compounds that are found in your body, more specifically your blood, tissues, urine, and other bodily fluids. They are 6 electrolytes: calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphate, potassium, and sodium. Salt is good for you, okay? Just basic table salt, though, leave that on the counter, okay? Leave that in the shaker. It looks nice. It makes for a nice traditionalist painting if it's on there, but that's where it should be. You should start upgrading your types of salt. Levels of electrolyte fluctuate as the amount of water in your body changes. Too much dilutes your electrolyte content. Too little means that it's an inadequate way to distribute said electrolytes. Ideally, the amount of water you consume should be equal to the amount you lose or eliminate. This can upset your balance by, say, sweating excessively and not drinking enough water. Other things that can cause your water balances to change are the use of some medications: steroids, laxatives, diuretics, vomiting, malabsorption due to a digestive or intestinal issues, chemotherapy treatments, chronic respiratory problems, elevated blood pH, and kidney or liver problems. Why are electrolytes important exactly? Well, they regulate the fluid levels in your body, or more specifically, your blood plasma and body, moving nutrients into your cells, transporting waste materials out of your cells, keeping your body's acid-base pH level, obviously, between the normal range of 7.4, 7.5, somewhere in that area, between 3 and 5, obviously. 7.3 and 5, obviously. Enabling your muscle contractions. Yes, that's what calcium does, by the way. Calcium is more than just building healthy bones. It is essential. It is essential to activate those muscle tissues. Very strange to learn that, especially with all of the programming from my youth. But anyways, I just thought I'd share that with everybody. Transmitting nerve signals from your muscles, heart, and nerve cells to other cells. Cells. Helping your blood to clot, assisting in the formation of new tissues. Yes, electrolytes do a whole heck of a lot. So what are some symptoms? How do you know if you're running electrolyte deficient? Well, low calcium may cause, or may not cause symptoms, rather. Mostly because if you are eating said balanced diet with a lot of leafy greens, even if you do indulge in some dairy products as well, hopefully they're grass-fed, and hopefully you eat a harder cheese or a more specified type of yogurt, you're normally running at a fine level. But if it is chronically low, you may see changes to your hair, skin, and nails. It may also experience yeast infections, legs and back cramps, and muscle irritability. Chloride. Low chloride can occur if you've experienced excessive vomiting or taking loop diuretics. Too much, I was gonna say a naughty word over here, but we don't do that over here. We try to keep it clean. If you find yourself peeing too much, there we go. That's the up and up term. Magnesium. Yeah, this is the big one. This is when because it is so hard to come across in a regular diet. This is going to be the one that flares up and will let you know that, yeah, your electrolytes might be a little bit on the off. Low magnesium may cause abdominal heart rhythms. Oh, abnormal, sorry. Of course you'd feel it in your abdomen. That's where your heart is, silly. Abnormal heart rhythms and muscle cramps or spasms, and phosphorus or phosphate. This is another common in just a multivitamin or your just standard electrolyte pill. Phosphate is fairly consistent in the world of supplementation. Low phosphate may cause respiratory failure. You don't want that now, do you? Heart failure, muscle weakness, seizures, and coma. Poor nutrition, use of certain diuretics, and alcoholism may cause low phosphate levels. It's extremely important, but you don't need that much to maintain a healthy balance in the body. So don't worry about falling to any of these very serious conditions, because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to run a deficiency in phosphorus or phosphate. Potassium. This one's hard to come across, and everybody associates potassium with bananas, but bananas are super high in fructose, and if you're trying to eat bananas to get potassium, God, I have such a funny joke, but I can't tell it over here. Or rather, I can, I just don't want to. It's like going to McDonald's to get a nutritionally dense sandwich. It's just self-defeating on the face of it because you intake way too much. I don't even care if it's natural sugar. Fructose cannot be digested, and it cannot be processed anywhere other than the liver in your body, and it only gets stored there unless it's used immediately for an energy expenditure. Try to stay away from things that are high in fructose, and there's no higher fruit that is higher in fructose than bananas. Nothing wrong with eating a banana, okay? It's better than a lot of other alternatives that are out there. But if you have the choice between a banana and a berry of some sort, take the berry. Take the berry every day. Sodium. Now this is one that a lot of people don't tend to run a deficiency of, because if you just take a look at the nutrition label on everything, sodium's normally present in about 80% of things. So low sodium causes water to move into your cells. It is usually marked by thirst, but it can also be accompanied by confusion, headache, lethargy, and personality changes. I was trying really hard not to mispronounce that because lots of people just say lethargy. And so did I. Oh well. Oh, potassium. I didn't go over the symptoms of those. My mistake. Low potassium may cause abnormal heart rhythms and how your body stores glycogen. Yes, what your body needs to create in order to create muscle activity. Very low potassium can cause cramps, spasms, muscle weaknesses, and respiratory problems. Where do you get electrolytes? That's a good question. You can get them from food, beverages, and supplements. You're pretty much going to have to supplement in order to get an adequate amount of some of that stuff, but most notably magnesium and potassium. And then they just point out the other pitfalls here of what I've already explained. So just so you guys know, I'm not a kook, and I'm not just making this stuff up. If you want more kookery and things that fit along those lines, I got a main channel, and we go through a whole bunch of fun stuff where I can tell spicy jokes. Water infused with electrolytes is one choice, and one of the best beverages to replace electrolytes is coconut water. Yeah, you got to be careful because a lot of that is just loaded with calories as well, which contains 5 of the 6 minerals without chloride. But especially mindful if choosing a beverage that advertises itself as an electrolyte or sports drink. That's what I was saying about Gatorade and Powerade. Many of the popular products in the supermarket shelves have a high sugar content as well as artificial colors and flavors. Yeah, if you've ever been looking at the nutrition label or the ingredients list and it says natural flavors, there's nothing natural about them flavors, okay? That's just a good rule of thumb. We can go into natural flavors and use big scare quotes on that one at a later time. Just know that there's nothing natural about those flavors. It's like trademarking organic just to say that you have an organic product because you use organic TM. That's what natural products are, or natural flavors, my mistake. Foods that are rich in electrolytes include avocado. Yes, the most efficient way that you can get potassium in your diet. Bananas, again, this caveat supply. Bell peppers, carrots, celery, citrus fruits, cucumbers, cultivated dairy, or cultured dairy, sorry. I don't know what cultivated dairy is. Has ideas of its own. Cultured dairy has just been around the world. Specifically target Greek yogurt. You've heard it for decades at this point, but it's as true then as it is now. It's one of the best types of dairy you can consume regularly. And then also, if you have an inkling for something along those lines, but you're just trying to get a little bit more of a nutrient dense and a little bit better fat profile for your body, seek out Bulgarian yogurt, okay? And unpasteurized cheese if you're in the hard cheese market. Kiwis, pineapple, and watermelon. Make these diet as my mistake, it's late in the day. Make these a part of your diet as much as possible. You can also replace electrolytes by taking supplements. Yeah, that's how I get it. I get my potassium, my magnesium, and I use a little bit of sea salt in my morning pre-workout before I go out there and get my miles. So that's how I make sure everything stays on the up and up. I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend what they've got here, but again, if you just want a, I don't know, kind of a tasty, time-consuming honey cherry magnesium kind of sugar drink, yeah, go for it. Doesn't look like it has any sugar outside of the honey, but depending on what your diet is, I guess that's allowed. But yeah, like I said, getting electrolytes balanced and figure out in my body, hey, it's changed the way that I've slept. It's been far and away incredibly important for me. And then I would also experience just debilitating cramping in my legs, and it was working its way up to the point where I couldn't have a comfortable night's sleep without having to wake up and walk around and hunch over depending on where the cramp manifested. But once I got all of that stuff figured out, it was aces, my guys. So sharing that information I thought would be important for you guys as well. Do with it what you may. If you find yourself running afoul of any of the symptoms described here, just consider, because supplementing with electrolytes, or rather trying to get those levels up there, there is very little downside to doing your own little experimentation. And worst thing that happens, well, you just have a drink of something special that tastes a little bit salty from now and then. So feel free to experiment on this. I just provide you with some helpful information that was life-changing to myself. With that said, guys, enjoy your evening. I thank you very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.